Most people think they understand the MrBeast story. They've seen the headlines about massive giveaways, record-breaking challenges, and videos that cost more than Hollywood productions. They see the scale, the spectacle, the money, and the explosive virality. What they don't see, and what most people never study, is the actual engine behind that success. The systems, the frameworks, the strategic discipline, and the psychological understanding that turned an ordinary kid into the most influential media operator of the digital age. This is not a story about talent or timing or luck. It's a story about engineering. It's a story about someone who treated content creation as a science long before the rest of the world realized it was one. To understand the MrBeast blueprint, you have to first understand the environment he mastered, the attention economy. Every business, every creator, every marketer, every entrepreneur is competing for the same currency, human attention. And attention does not behave like money or time or resources. Attention behaves like energy. It flows where it is pulled, not where it is pushed. It rewards clarity, novelty, emotional resonance, and simplicity. It punishes confusion, friction, and passiveness. The reason MrBeast succeeded is because he understood this fundamental truth earlier and deeper than almost anyone else. But let's break this down not as inspiration, but as a series of strategic principles. If you study them carefully, you will understand why his trajectory wasn't a fluke, it was inevitable. The first strategic pillar is long-term iteration. Most creators, businesses, and startups operate in cycles of short-term output. They produce something, judge it immediately, and attach their confidence to the response. If it doesn't work, they jump to something else. If it works, they stick with the formula until it stops working. But they are rarely learning. They're reacting, not evolving. MrBeast did something radically different. He used every video as a single data point in a long-term experiment. Instead of judging success or failure emotionally, he assessed everything analytically. He tracked patterns. He isolated variables. He studied retention curves. He rewatched dozens of videos frame by frame. He compared thumbnails side by side. Over time, this obsessive iteration created compound knowledge. And compound knowledge, just like compound interest, grows exponentially. This leads to the second strategic pillar, zero ego learning. Most people say they want success, but they don't want to confront the discomfort required to earn it. They don't want to examine their shortcomings honestly. They don't want to admit weaknesses. They don't want to hear criticism. They want results without rewiring their identity. MrBeast, on the other hand, dissolved his ego in service of improvement. He watched competitors' videos and reverse-engineered what worked. He listened to feedback. He willingly looked at his own failures without defensiveness. Zero ego learning allowed him to absorb knowledge at a rate most people physically cannot match because their ego blocks the input. The third pillar is reinvestment. In traditional business, reinvesting profits is normal. But in personal ventures, creators almost never reinvest meaningfully. They spend early money on comfort, lifestyle, validation, or short-term relief. Jimmy chose the opposite route. Every dollar that came in, he put back into the system. Better cameras, better editors, better ideas, better production, better incentives for viewers. This reinvestment didn't just improve the videos. It strengthened his competitive moat. While others plateaued, he accelerated. Reinvestment created leverage. Leverage created scale. Scale created dominance. The fourth strategic pillar is value density. Most people underestimate just how sophisticated his understanding of value is. Attention is not rewarded to the biggest budgets. Attention is rewarded to the biggest value per unit of time. MrBeast designed videos that delivered massive value every second. There was no fluff, no slow intros, no explanations people didn't need. He compressed storytelling into maximum efficiency. Every frame served the viewer. He treated the viewer's time like a sacred asset. And because the viewer felt respected, they stayed longer, they returned more often, and they shared more consistently. The fifth pillar is emotional leverage. Logic doesn't drive attention. Emotions do. Humans share what makes them feel, and MrBeast optimized his content around emotional drivers with surgical precision. Curiosity, generosity, surprise, tension, gratitude, anticipation, and joy. He engineered reactions. He built narratives that created emotional payoff. His videos didn't just entertain, they made people feel good about the world. That emotional resonance is what produced a global loyal audience instead of fleeting viral attention. Now let's talk about the sixth pillar, systems thinking. Large-scale content creation cannot rely on motivation, energy, or inspiration. It has to rely on systems. Most creators burn out because their success is dependent on their personal output. Jimmy built teams, processes, cycles, and workflows. He delegated intelligently and trained people until quality became predictable. He built a company, not a channel. While others were making videos, he was building an organization capable of producing high-level content indefinitely. Systems thinking transformed his channel from a personal hustle into a scalable media empire. The seventh strategic pillar is ruthless audience focus. Many creators produce content they enjoy, hoping the audience will enjoy it too. MrBeast flipped the equation. He started with the audience first. He asked a simple but powerful question: what would make a viewer unable to click away? What would make someone watch until the very end? What would make them share this instantly? He designed content backward. Instead of starting with what he wanted to do, he started with what the audience would value most. That is why his retention rates became legendary. That is why his videos feel inevitable to watch. They were engineered for the human brain, not the creator's preferences. The eighth pillar is psychological depth. Most creators know surface-level psychology. Things like bright colors, fast cuts, loud reactions. But MrBeast understood deeper psychology. He understood novelty bias, reward anticipation, attention loops, perceptual contrast, pattern interruption, emotional pacing, and viewer fatigue. He didn't just make videos. He crafted psychological experiences optimized for maximum attention flow. This level of psychological precision is rare because it requires thousands of hours of study, experimentation, and reflection. The ninth pillar is timing and adaptation. He didn't chase trends blindly. He studied macro patterns of digital consumption. He recognized early that YouTube was shifting from personality-driven content to spectacle-driven content. He adapted before the masses realized the opportunity. When Shorts became a major format, he expanded strategically. When international audiences grew in importance, he launched multi-language dubbing. When analytics changed, he adapted instantly. Timing without preparation is luck. Timing with preparation is inevitability. The 10th pillar is durability. Most creators focus on virality, not longevity. They want a moment, not a decade. They want a spike, not a system. Durability requires creating a body of work that remains relevant regardless of trends. MrBeast focused on timeless challenges, universal emotions, and formats that anyone in any country could understand. That made him platform-proof, algorithm-proof, and trend-proof. Durability is the highest level of attention mastery. Now we reach the core of the blueprint, the mindset that made all of this possible. MrBeast approached YouTube as though it were both an art and a science. He respected creativity but worshipped discipline. He embraced experimentation but rejected randomness. He operated with long-term vision in a short-term environment. He made data emotional by caring about results as deeply as an artist cares about beauty. And most importantly, he mastered delayed gratification. While others wanted views today, he built skills for a future he knew would come. There is a reason almost nobody replicates his success. Not because the blueprint is secret, not because the strategy is inaccessible, but because the discipline required is rare. Most people want success without the discomfort of mastery. They want recognition without rejection. They want consistency without sacrifice. They want growth without humility. And that's exactly why his methodology works, because hardly anyone is willing to commit to the level that he did. But this script is not about worshipping what he built. It's about understanding what you can learn from it. The blueprint applies far beyond YouTube. It applies to business, branding, marketing, entrepreneurship, leadership, and innovation. Attention is the most powerful force in the modern world, and the people who master it will dominate every industry. The question is not whether you can apply these principles. You can. The question is whether you will. Are you willing to iterate until improvement becomes inevitable? Are you willing to reinvest your wins instead of consuming them? Are you willing to study your field with uncomfortable intensity? Are you willing to build systems instead of relying on motivation? Are you willing to master emotional communication? Are you willing to analyze failure without ego? Are you willing to play the long game in a short-term culture? Most won't. And that is exactly why the ones who do will rise above everyone else. The MrBeast blueprint is not a set of tactics. It is a philosophy of mastery. A philosophy built on obsession, discipline, and long-term vision. It proves that greatness is not an accident. It is engineered. It is designed. It is constructed brick by brick, video by video, iteration by iteration. The only remaining question is whether you are willing to build something with that same conviction. Because if you do, the results will not be small. They will not be slow. They will not be average. They will be exponential. They will compound. They will transform your trajectory. That is the promise of the blueprint, and it is available to anyone willing to earn it.